Sometimes the last thing that we want to be is understanding. Sometimes the last thing is that we want to do is that we want to use our emotional intelligence to be able to understand somebody and not to blow up on them. Because so often we just want to blurt things out, say the things that we mean and mean what we say. But are our emotions driving what we are going to say? Because oftentimes we just blurt. I think that there's like a technique of like innovation of the term blurting, just say anything that comes to mind. But the thing is, you can't do that with other people or towards other people in a way that our emotions drive, because that's just not kind. and it might make us feel better in the moment, but we have to use our awareness and our cognizance to be able to understand and try to be empathetic of what that other person is going through. Because it's so easy to judge somebody from the outside, to see and judge. I don't like what they're doing. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't know why they're doing that. But we don't have to. We don't need to. Because that person is doing their best. That person is doing what their skills have and allow them to do. Because for instance, like if you saw somebody with or abnormal things that aren't normal to you physically, like characteristically, neurologically, just things that are different than what you are and what you have and don't have, honestly, sorry, my voice is like, and it's like late. And we oftentimes judge. Like for example, like I just remember when I was like a little kid, there was somebody who didn't have like all their limbs, and it was just like weird as like a child, obviously, to see that, and I was very like curious and like I didn't understand, and it was very like questioning. It's like very something that's different than like myself growing up, and so I just didn't understand that, and in a form and in a way it was judgment for not understanding. And I think when we can try to be at least empathetic and try to understand where they're coming from their perspective and the struggles that they've faced, that's when we can kind of become more empathetic and increase our emotional intelligence and not to blurt out at somebody. Because even when we think that we know about somebody, even when we think we know what that person is going through, you don't. So be kind, be empathetic. And even if that means not saying anything and walking away and then continuing the conversation later, so be it. You're not a bad person if you walk away for a little to cool off, to give yourself time to prevent yourself from saying something that you would regret later. And I think once you come back to that situation, that conversation, or that person, and you tell them that you walked away to have patience and to cool down and to gather your emotional intelligence, that person should appreciate that, to say the least. And if they don't, oh well. But anyways, I want to leave you with this. Emotional intelligence and being aware and trying to be empathetic is probably one of the most valuable skills that will set you apart in life. You can put it in any context, within friends, within family, within work, within success. Because someone to the left of you can have the IQ of like 187 or like 200, I don't know, intelligent. But if they cannot have human to human skills and be able to tell you anything, to be able to connect with you, but then you can have a little bit of intelligence, you can have a little bit like, maybe like 100, 114, I don't know the scale of IQ, but you can have those hard skills, you know, but then have on top of that soft skills within making friendships, relationship connections. You will become societally a lot more valuable. And I think it doesn't even have to be societally, but just rather from the perspective of building connection. Because building connections is so rich. I go on a tangent about being rich, but your life is just filled with so much joy. And when you can control where your joy comes from by controlling you and your emotions, I promise I'll bring it back, then your life can change for the better. You can change for the better. The people that you impact will change for the better. And if you can be that light source, if you can be that ounce of positivity in their life, even if they're going through a hard time, be that, do that. Because that is the power that you have. That is the power and the light and the grace and the patience and the generosity and genuinely the love that you can bring to your environment. You've got this. I know you are more than ready for whatever the world has to throw at you. Food for thought.